So I've been creating content for my YouTube channel now for 1 year. I've created 52 weeks worth of content, and today I want to pull back the curtain and show you some of the results that I've seen, some of the lessons learned, and my honest reflections on exactly what I've been doing over the last year on YouTube. So if you're thinking about starting your own YouTube channel, or if you already have started a YouTube channel, watch all the way to the end of this video because I'm going to share some of the things that I wish I would have done differently. But without further ado, I'm going to dive straight on over into my desktop and show you behind the curtain. So here I am in my desktop, and I would just open a clean web browser and then just open the Google tab, and I'd probably just click on YouTube. Now this is the first thing I would do if I was to review any channel. I would probably open an incognito browser. I would probably just search for the name of your channel. So my channel is just my own brand, Tim Peakman. That's the handle, @Tim Peakman. And you can just see here, so at this stage of the game, after a year in, I have 255 subscribers. Maybe I would have hoped for more, maybe I could have got less, but I'm actually encouraged by the way that it is actually steadily growing over time, and it's organically growing, but more on that later. But just have a look down. This is the latest from my channel, which is great. 6 more here. Yes. So my channel is indexed. My videos are being shown. There is another Dr. Tim Peakman from UK Biobank who's got a high ranking video here. But most of the other content here, you can see that it's my content and my thumbnails. So if you have a strategy, or like a thumbnail strategy or a title strategy, try and test that over time. Try and remain consistent. So when I'm building out my thumbnails, I have done another video on how to build thumbnails and how I build my thumbnails out. I try and make them super clean, super clear of what the actual video is. And I tend to have my image, my face on there to actually denote that this is from my channel. And so people can actually see the same sort of style. So as you can see, like last week here, it was an interview style, so I had somebody else on there, and now this is another strategy. So if you do have a strategy that you're trying to put content out there to be discoverable, that's great, but you might also want to collaborate with other creators to try and get in front of their audience, or for them to share your content and your channel to their audience and vice versa, so you can actually help them and then maybe grow as a result of that. But I'm just going to click on my channel and have a look. So I'm just going to click over into the video section, and YouTube gives you like a latest, a popular, and oldest. You can actually have a search through here, and some of the things that you may want to have a look at is popular. So I have a look at my popular videos, and this is the whole 80-20 rule, right? Some of your videos are going to pop, some are not going to pop so much. So the 80-20 rule, like 20% of your videos are going to drive 80% of the views. So if you can see here, this is my most viewed video. So at the moment, it's got 6,400 views, which is not really typical for this channel. But as you can see here, I've got a little app, vidIQ. It's saying it's getting 2 views per hour. So that's pretty good for my channel. You may look at some bigger channels and they may be getting hundreds of views per hour, but that's just the volume and the velocity that YouTube is a big beast, and it can actually drive immense traffic to your brand. But I would have a look down here, and I would have a look at some of the titles here. So Zoom webinar tutorial, how to host a Zoom webinar. So I got quite a lot of questions from this channel, people on my channel, or people I'm actually working with as my private clients. They're struggling to set up a Zoom webinar, host a Zoom webinar, launch their programs using Zoom webinars. So I thought, okay, everyone's asking for this. Let's just do some content on it. And it's actually ranking quite well. So Zoom webinar tutorial, if I was to open up an incognito browser, Zoom webinar, so there you go, Zoom webinar tutorial. Top one's an ad, second one's an ad, then there's Zoom, and then I'm ranked number 3. So this is why I'm getting quite a lot of traffic to this video, because it's ranking really well. So YouTube see it as a Zoom webinar tutorial, and people are actually going in. I'll show you the audience retention in a sec, but people are actually seeing that and watching it, and it's being served by search. Another one, versus meeting, is the second one I did. it's actually ranking quite well as well. So I always like to open up an incognito browser. It just gets rid of all your past searches, and it's like a clean window. So you can actually search for some of the keywords that you want to rank for. And if that's your strategy, you can actually see through the eyes of your audience or your potential audience, like how you show. So what I would do is I would have a look and see some of these titles. So some of the verses, so Zoom webinar versus meeting. Google will tell you, there's a lot of things that Google will tell you, but if you search for it and use Google's auto suggest, so Zoom webinar versus, that's probably the main thing here. So Zoom webinar versus, and then it will give you a list of Zoom webinar versus meetings, Zoom webinar versus Zoom events, Zoom webinar versus team webinar. So these are all potential videos that you could actually, if you were a specialist on Zoom, you could actually create more content for. But as Zoom is just one of the tools that I use to, this is my Strapline weekly tips and tools for building your online business. So it's everything online business. It's not just YouTube. It's not just Zoom. It's an online business. What tools and tips that you can use. So again, another ScreenFlow tutorial. So this is a video editing. So a lot of people are searching ScreenFlow tutorial. So again, if I search for here, that's my third ranking video. So if I search for ScreenFlow tutorial and then see how my video is ranking. Okay, so the first one's an ad. The second one is the number 1 ranking, and then my video is number 2 ranking. So you can see that I'm getting the traffic to these videos through YouTube search. Now, this is a pretty old school way of doing it. It's actually building out your titles to actually get the search. But in this day and age, you want YouTube to promote you as much as possible. So I'm going to show you inside my YouTube studio in a second. But if you followed any of my content, I'm really big onto Kajabi. Kajabi is the platform that I use to run my entire online business. So I do a lot of Kajabi versus. So Kajabi versus Thinkific, Kajabi versus ClickFunnels. These have got 600 views, 1,000 views. So they're actually getting good search. So if you, again, go to, if you want Kajabi versus, so there's one Kajabi versus Teachable versus Thinkific, Kajabi versus WordPress, Teachable, Thinkific, ClickFunnels. So again, these are all potential content creation ideas. But I'm going to jump into my, if I go into manage videos, and I'm just going to show you a little bit into the back end in my actual studio. So I'm going to go straight into analytics. And then I'm going to click out on the advanced mode. So what I want to show you is like, I want to understand where my traffic source is coming from. So as you can see, this one video is doing really well, and it's YouTube search. So that's one here from YouTube search. And this video here, if I just go back, I'll show you what video it is. This video is Zoom webinar tutorial. Okay, so a lot of my YouTube search is coming. Most of my traffic is coming from YouTube search, and then most of my YouTube search is actually from this one Zoom webinar tutorial that we've just showed. So if I go back to the traffic source, and if I scroll down here, so YouTube search is the dominant traffic source. Then I've got suggested videos and browse features. Now, ideally, you want YouTube to actually suggest your videos and put them in the browse features for other people who are on YouTube. So that way YouTube actually actively promotes your channel. This is the sort of passive way, really, waiting for people to come in and search and find your content. It's probably more sustainable, but if you wanted a bit more of a boost, I would probably look to try and go for more suggested videos and browse features. But what I'm going to have a look at doing is going over the last, let's look at lifetime, and then let's look at YouTube search. And then as you can see, the YouTube searches are starting to grow, but I like to look at the total. So it gives you an accurate value of how your videos are growing via YouTube search. So if this was your main strategy to show up in search, you can actually see that it is working. But it's we've got 255 subscribers over 1 year. So you might think that's quite slow, but actually you will see that this is a compounding effect. So exponential growth, most people only notice exponential growth actually at the steepest part of the curve. But if your subscriber counts and your views keep increasing month on month, and you can actually class that as exponential growth. So I'm going to go back into my dashboard here. So if I cancel that, and then let's look at subscribers. So subscribers over time. So I'm getting 62 subscribers a month, which is 43 more than normal. But if I look back over into my channel, I'm going to show you inside the community, which I've posted a couple of posts here. So it took me 8 months to get my first 100 subscribers, but it only took me another 4 months to get my second 100 subscribers. So it's half the time and it's double the subscribers. So I'm looking to do my next 100 subscribers in 2 months. So that was 3 weeks ago. And as you can see, I've passed the 250 now. So I'm on track to get my next 100 subscribers in 2 months. So as you can see, that is exponential growth. And here, if you look at 20,000 views, it took me actually 10 months to get my first 10,000 views, but only another 2 months to get my next 10,000 views, making it 20,000 views. So again, that's exponential growth. So I'm actually quite excited or quite confident on how this channel is growing, albeit small at this stage. It is growing over time. And I'm literally just listening to my audience, hearing what they have to say, and then putting content out to serve them. So I've done quite a bit of experimenting over the last few months. I typically create, and I've created over 52 plus long form videos for YouTube. I've actually experimented with shorts as well. So I've created quite a few YouTube shorts to go out. And this is, if you think about it, this is more sort of top of funnel. This is more brand awareness. So you've got to try and have a strategy of what you're putting out and what you want people to actually do. And then I've done a series of lives as well. So it all depends what your main strategy is. I want this channel to be more long form. I like putting out long form content. When I say long form, anything from sort of 10 minutes. Some of the more podcast episodes are up to half an hour, for example, but I also combine that with shorts. So if somebody is standing in line for a bus or standing in line at a restaurant and they're scrolling through, they might be scrolling through shorts and they might see some of your content. If they then get home and then either open up their laptop or put it on their TV, they might actually consume some of your long form content. And if they're maybe in the car or driving or on the train, they may actually put their headphones in and listen to some of your longer podcast content. So that's actually what YouTube want you to try and do, is trying to create short form, long form, and some longer sort of podcast episodes. And I've done all of them. And the only thing that I would probably do differently is I've been really consistent in actually churning out one video a week on time every Wednesday. And I switched it up for a few weeks and then I was doing lives. So I actually produced a live up to around sort of 10 minutes in length to talk about the content that I produce and the strategy and how I've built businesses online. And I could actually see that the live content didn't hit as well, didn't get as many views, wasn't really pushed by YouTube, and I could see that my views were dwindling. So these 6 lives over 6 separate weeks were probably not the best bet in replace of long form content. So I would probably do, if I was to do more lives in the future, which I will, I would probably do these in addition to the long form content. So I would do my long form content once a week, more if I can cope with that, but this is a long-term play for me. I'm just committing to one video every week on a Wednesday. And then if I do lives on top of that and shorts on top of that, that's how I'm going to hopefully grow this channel. And lastly, you've got to ask yourself your overall strategy with your channel. If you have consumed a lot of my content, you might find that it's not the typical YouTube with B-roll, lots of images. I don't like to edit as much as a lot of YouTubers do. So it might not be as engaging. It might not be the typical YouTube format, but I try and call people to action. I try and give good advice, online business advice, how to grow your online brand, and then signpost them to a free guide or somewhere where they can go deeper with me. And it's not a typical YouTube strategy. Typically, YouTubers want to grow their channel as much as possible. So they'll say, hit the subscribe, click the bell notification, because they want their subscriber numbers to go as high as possible to try and get that ad revenue. And to be monetized, you need over 1,000 subscribers. So I'm not there yet. But to get that ad revenue, you need a hell of a lot of views. My strategy is I want to build a business off the back of YouTube. So I'm trying to get people over to my website and offering them my free products and my paid products. So hopefully you found value in that. It's behind the scenes of my YouTube channel, what I would probably do differently, or what I would do differently going forward, what I am committing to on a weekly basis. And I do see a lot of channels, they get despondent after a few months, they're not getting those views and they give up. So the one thing for you to take away from this video is just to not give up. If you are committed to this YouTube game, in order to grow a business off the back of it, just commit to one video a week, more if you can, but I'd rather see you commit one video a week and stay at it for the long haul. And yeah, you can then signpost people to your website, have one call to action, one link, and then try and grow that business off the back and offer your products. So as always then, if you did want to know any of the other tools that I use, YouTube is just one of the tools, one of my favorite tools that I use to run and grow an online business. If you want to know all the tools that I use, you can simply head to timpeakman.com/tools and you can get a PDF checklist, simple checklist that I've run through all the tools that I know and love. I've scrutinized quite a lot of tools and I've just got a handful of tools in a PDF for you to have a look at, see if you want to implement them in your business or not. Head over to timpeakman.com/tools. Hopefully you've got value from this video and I really look forward to seeing you on another video soon.